Hey, what's up everyone, this is Ben5. So if most of you guys have probably heard this, most of you. If not, you really don't keep up with the fucking news, or you don't live in America. Yeah, I know I have quite a few subscribers that are, outside the US, so if you ever heard this, whatever, that's fine, but most of you have heard of this. So, down in Oklahoma, which is always funny because well, actually I shouldn't say it's funny, it's weird because that's where Brian Tulsa lives, and I really like that guy. I wish he'd do more fucking videos. He's actually a really interesting guy. He doesn't cuss like me. He's actually very intelligent. He talks about the law. But that's where Mystical Forest lives. And I know Brian Tulsa actually did videos against Mystical Forest because it's like, well, you're kind of giving us a bad name. But nonetheless, well, I shouldn't say nonetheless. Anyway, so yeah, they basically circumvented the law by passing a law that says that they can build, that private organizations can build religious monuments on state grounds as long as it's with private money, even though one of these fucking representatives was using some of his own money to do it. And yeah, of course, what did they do? They opened Pandora's box. So they got some what you might call offbeat religion saying that they want to build shit too, because now they have the Ten Commandments there. And so the New York-based Temple of Satan wanted to build a monument there to Satan. And of course Fox News is reporting on this, and what did Megyn Kelly say? Really? 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 Which, first things first. I have no problem with religious buildings, churches, synagogues, mosques, whatever. In fact, I did a couple videos about the Ground Zero Mosque. In fact, here's a little anecdote about myself. Locally, there is a Baptist church. Very small fucking Baptist church. Very small. I've had a few words with the pastor there. Very nice guy. I have no issue with him whatsoever. Very friendly. I said nothing against his religion, and that was pretty much it. We had a very short and respectful conversation. It was fine. This church, they don't fucking go around knocking door to door and shit like that. I mean, they have every right to do that too. I really don't give a fuck, but even if there's a couple stories I have about that, but I'm not going to say them here. Nothing embarrassing. It's just kind of, just stories, but this video is probably going to turn out a fuck of a lot longer than I want it to. But anyway, so, I had a couple words with him, but I noticed when I was driving down there, because my now wife, she actually lived, when she was just my girlfriend, when she lived at home, I would kind of drive from her house, and I'd pass this fucking church every goddamn day. And on the front, because the front's kind of like an A-frame type building, and they had this silhouette thing. And what it was this, like this wooden cutout of, it was, a silhouette. And it was supposed to be Christ, and like, a light shine up behind it, and, and be, spotlighted up on the building, and like I said, it was supposed to be Christ, and I was fine with that. I had no fucking issue with that. One day I noticed the fucking silhouette. It looks weird. There's just a bunch of light. Someone fucking broke that, and that really pissed me off. It really did, because it's like, okay, they're not doing anything. They're not saying that, they don't have a sign that says, fags are gonna go to hell, and fuck faggots, and all this shit. If you don't believe us, if you don't believe what we believe, you're a bunch of fucking morons, and all this shit. No, it was just a silhouette of Jesus. And that pissed me off that someone broke it. And beyond all of that, beyond the fact that they're just being cool with their shit, it's their fucking private property. Why break it? That pisses me off. But anyway, here's the thing. When this group of Satanists said they wanted to build a monument, that is just basically them trying to point out that you motherfuckers down there in Oklahoma are opening up a can of worms. And they're showing that. Plainly. It's very fucking simple to see what they're saying. Okay, fine. Well, Satanism is a recognized religion, not only by the government, but by the fucking military. You can have, like, a satanic memorial service if you're killed in action. That's a fucking fact. It is a fact. It is a recognized fucking religion. But the thing is, like, what the people in Oklahoma say, oh, we're a Christian community. Okay, well, you didn't say that. You didn't say it has to be Christian. It just has to be religious. And, well, it doesn't have to be, I guess. But it has to be from a private organization. So, okay, well, they're a private organization, aren't they? So what's the fucking problem here? Oh, okay, so you wanted your fucking shit. And this is exactly what they fucking did on Fox News. Because it's not Christian. Oh, well, this is what they mean. Okay, no, they didn't say that. They didn't say it has to be Christian. Because they know they can't fucking say that. Because that goes against the whole separation of church and state thing. So it's like, well, why are you going to complain about this? Don't they have every fucking right to do so? Don't they have every fucking right? Especially if they're using their own fucking money. Don't they have the right to do it? Oh no, that's not how fucking Fox News views it. Well, who cares? Now, even Jake Uger on the fucking Young Turks, which, you know, I don't like the fucking Young Turks. Yeah, they bring up some good points every once in a while, and I'll watch an occasional video by them. I'm not subscribed to them. Jake Uger's like, well, Satan's a bad guy. You know that's kind of bad. You know, Fox News is like, with Satan, there are so many fucking points to bring up about this, and I'm gonna bring up as many as I can possibly fucking think of, because this has been kind of weighing on my mind for the past few days. First things first, Satanism, and I've done a couple of videos about Satanism. I did one way back when I first fucking started, entitled Satanism, and forgetting about that video completely, I did another video a few years later, entitled Satanism, and the first video I believe I took down. I just put it on unlisted. I really don't put videos on private or anything unless they're for someone else. And then I also did a video about some of the anti-bullying shit. I said, well, if it's religiously based, and I brought up something in Satanism, because, you know, if it's just if it's religiously based, then you can use that, right? Like, there's one rule in Satanism, when in open territory, bother no one. If someone bothers you, ask them to stop. If they do not stop, destroy them. So it's like, well, if that's the case in school, then you can destroy them. And that's with whatever fucking means you find necessary. That's what Satanism says. You know, it's like, well, okay, you don't have to fucking physically do it. You can do it in other ways, too. So if someone's bothering you, you should be able to kick their fucking asses, or, you know, just smear their fucking character, and if they try to get on your ass about that, you can say, well, I'm a LaVeyan Satanist. So, yeah, that's what my religion says. But anyway, but here's the thing. When it comes to people like Cenk Uygur, and other people who say, well, Satan's a bad guy, he's a bad guy, and there's also the thing about how, well, if Satan doesn't exist, I mean, if you don't believe God exists, because I said, you know, Satanists are atheists, which most of them are, at least LaVeyan ones, you know, if God doesn't exist, how can you worship Satan? How can you believe in that? It's like, this is the reason why I say read about it. But then again, the Church of Satan's website, their official website, the main page has a picture of Anton LaVeyan and a few other people, and it says, we're looking for a few outstanding individuals. It's kind of symbolic that it says outstanding and individuals, because here's the thing. Satanism, it knows with that name, they're only going to attract a few fucking certain people who aren't scared to look into it, people that look at it like, okay, well, it's just a fucking book, what's the most that's going to happen if I read it? You know, Satanism is kind of offbeat, and actually by kind of I mean a lot. It's very offbeat. It's not a religion that most people would even, you know, take a second look at. You know, it's very weird. It's dark. I've always said it's atheism with a dark twist. You know, it is atheistic. You're your own God, because you're responsible for your own good and evil. Only you will decide what you fucking do. It has nothing to do with Satan or God or anything like that. You know, it's just, Satan is symbolic. That's all it is. Satan is a character. And you look at that character in a different way. You know, Cenk Uygur saying he's a bad guy. Okay, well, here's the thing about Satanists. Satanists do not look at Satan as a bad guy. In fact, when you look at the character of Satan, and I mean the Christian version, because, I mean, even, like, Lucifer, you know, when people say, Lucifer, that was his name, okay, but that was the Roman god of error and enlightenment, and, in fact, in the Satanic Bible, it even lists, you know, like, the infernal names, and it says, like, where they got these fucking names from, you know, like, what the original character was, shit like this. So, basically, Satan, if you look at it in, you know, a certain light, because a lot of fucking people look at things in a weird fucking light. I mean, fuck, I did a video a while back, I even forget what video it was, but I was talking about Cain and Abel, how, you know, it's like Cain was, you know, good with the land and shit, and Abel just, you know, killed animals and burned them up, because, you know, the smell is so pleasing to God's nose. And someone's like, no, Cain was only giving God, the bad crops. And the Bible doesn't say that. And many people point that out. It's like, well, that's what they said here. Well, the Bible doesn't say that. Where the fuck are you getting all that from? Well, that's what they said in church. Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's fucking true. So look at things in the right fucking light. Now, looking at Satan, he has a lot of the fucking characteristics that a lot of the coming-of-age type characters have. There is a supreme fucking being who created, in the case of Satan, or gave power to basically the next person down. Because, it said that, Satan was the most perfect of God's creations. Even though that's always been fucking weird to me, that Satan was the most perfect he's ever come to perfection, yet he's evil. So what is that saying? Like, if God could create perfection, it would either be God or it'd be completely fucking evil? What the fuck is that trying to say? That's always been confusing to me. But anyway, so, Satan, said, well, basically, we can do a better job than this, because this is before man and shit, this is before the fall of man. Okay, well, so what? So him saying, I have a better idea. So the totalitarian fucking government, which is God, who basically said, all you motherfuckers are just gonna serve me. You're gonna serve me. You're gonna do what I fucking tell you, and that's all there is to it. So that's bad for someone to rebel against that? Well, it's God, but he's the all-powerful. Okay? It's the same with a lot of these coming-of-age stories. And Satan will rise up, he will have people that believe in him, and yeah, they may fall, they may stumble, but eventually they're gonna overtake the ultimate fucking power of the fucking universe, I guess you could say. And it's kind of funny that, a lot of Republicans, they're all against government. Well, not all, but a lot of them are against, a lot of government. They say, we shouldn't have a lot of government and all this fucking shit. Okay, well then you should be identifying with fucking Satan. Instead of just saying he's evil. Why is he evil? Because someone tells you he is? Because the powers that be tell you he is? But whatever. Speaking of Republicans and shit like this, because we can go beyond Republicans, and we'll talk about libertarians. Because, most libertarians, if not all, think that government is fucking bad. Which always confuses me that, in fact, it's the same guy who, said the ground zero mosque is okay, it goes against capitalism and all this shit. I used to work at a coffee shop, and we had to, use our favorite saying from the company on this board. And his was, question authority. Which always fucks me up, because it's like, well, he's a Christian. And he doesn't question the Bible. He's against gay marriage. He believes the scripture. Beyond that, he didn't really question George W. Bush. In fact, I even got him to say that. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Question authority. You only question the authority that you think is bad. This other shit you think is okay. If it agrees with you, okay, it's good. You're not questioning them. They're authority, aren't they? But anyway, and he didn't question his fucking church either, so. But, here's the thing. LaVeyan Satanism. Now, here's the thing. And I have to have full disclosure on this. I do not know. And I tried to do the research on this, and I couldn't really find anything. I don't know if the Temple of Satan is kind of an offshoot of the LaVeyan Church of Satanism, because there are so many fucking offshoots. There's the First Church of Satan, the New Church of Satan. Anton LaVey's daughter, I believe, married or was with some guy who was in the Temple of Set. They had all this shit, against Anton LaVey. There are so many fucking offshoots of it. But if the Temple of Satan is, because, there are all those other people who believe, more like the satanic teachings of Aleister Crowley. And by the way, again, I've had to say this a couple of times. Yes, one of his descendants said it is Crowley, not Crowley. So if you guys say Crowley, you're actually wrong. But anyway, some of them believe in that. But we'll just assume here, just for the sake of argument here. And again, I hope I'm not kind of like straw-manning people here. But anyway, so if these motherfuckers are kind of an offshoot of the Church of Satan with Anton LaVey's teachings, there are a few fucking things about that, and I'm going to bring up a couple here. Number one, Anton LaVey based a lot of his philosophy on the teachings of Ayn Rand. Now, a lot of libertarians look at Ayn Rand as, you know, some kind of fucking demigod, almost. And they look at, like, her teachings, you know, say, like, I'm not gonna fucking lay down my, you know, my life for this and this and this. It's complete fucking bullshit, which is one of the reasons I got out of Satanism. But, you know, again, like nicotine and silence, I kind of still have those kind of pangs where I have to, you know, I have to defend it, you know, because I used to believe this shit, so it's like, I know a bit about it. But anyway, so, what about these libertarians on the right? What about them? Who, you know, the people that watch Fox News and all this shit. Okay, well, Satanism is more based on that than Christianity is. So shouldn't you be for that? But again, they don't fucking read into it. Because if a lot of these motherfuckers did, they realize it's not that fucking weird. It's not that fucking stupid. You know, but that's the thing. It's like they don't want to fucking read into it because they think it's evil. And it's going to be Satan worship and all this. No, again, you worship your fucking self. And it's also funny because the Church of Satan actually got into it with a small group. I believe the Temple of Satan was actually there. They actually spoke out against a group. And I'll kind of give you guys some background here. There was a pro-life, anti-abortion demonstration. And a lot of people to, I guess, drown out the pro-lifers singing Amazing Grace, they started yelling, Hail Satan. And here's the thing. It's another right-wing talking point because, you know, a lot of people on Fox News are really against abortion. Which, if you are against abortion, I get it. I really do. It's kind of like me and the whole, you know, eating meat thing. I don't agree. I really think eating meat is bad, you know, for many fucking reasons. But that's me. You know, I'm not going to push my fucking beliefs down you guys' throats because, well, that's just not the kind of guy I am. And yes, I am very, very pro-choice. In fact, I'm pro-abortion. And that's it. End of. But, the guy who was running the Church of Satan now, was that? I forget his fucking name. Even though Anton LaVeyan left it to his then wife, but then this fucking bitch left it to this guy. But anyway, Peter something. He actually had something against saying that. In fact, it seems like even Anton LaVeyan, the guy who founded the Church of Satan, was against abortion. At least from the research I've done, he actually said that, no, if you really want to get an abortion, why don't we just abort the fucking women who are, you know, getting pregnant and having abortions? Which is fucking stupid. I see what he's saying there. But that, again, leads into Satanism. Because what is the most important thing in Satanism? Self. It is all about yourself. You're an individual. And to take someone's right of being an individual away is bad. That's against Satanism. Unless they really do something, like they're attacking you, something like that, you do not have the right to take that away. And an unborn child, in their eyes, isn't doing anything to make you take that right away from them. So basically, the stance of Satanists, at least LaVeyan ones, is that abortion is wrong. So this is the kind of shit. What the fuck? Really, Fox News is gonna bitch about this? But of course they are. Of course. Because it goes against what they fucking believe. They think America's like this. America should be about this and this and this. And, oh, I don't think anyone else should have a right to fucking speak. Even though, again, these motherfuckers open up the can of worms. They open up Pandora's box. So it's their fucking fault. Don't blame anyone but them.